very much for having me along today. It's been a long time since we've actually been in each other's company, but here to, of course, to talk about coaching your business and everything that goes in between. So, yeah, how's it going?
Well, it's not been great. Pretty much the last year has obviously been a massive challenge. We were officially open for 4 days, and then Bojo decided that the world was going to shut down, or ours was. And at 5 o'clock on the Friday night, we shut down, and that was essentially us fully functional wise until now. Yep. A couple of breaks in between. There was a couple of things going on, but outside of that, the last year has just been working on the business, trying to find some form of sustainability to get us through to this side. So, but we're here.
We're here now, absolutely right. So the purpose of today is, of course, to talk about yourself as a business owner, talk about, of course, your business, which is in relation to coaching, but I'm going to give you the opportunity, of course, to talk about your business and things like that. So why don't we kind of just start there? Why don't you tell me about yourself, Stuart, and tell our audience about yourself and a bit more about the purpose of your business?
Cool. So basically, my name's Stewart Graham. I own Black Box Muay Thai in Bathgate. I have been involved in martial arts since I was 7 years old. All came about because I wanted to be a Power Ranger.
Nice.
Yeah, I know. I was unsuccessful in that pursuit, but no, it got me into fighting. My dad was always massively encouraging on both me learning how to defend myself, but to be competitive. I was useless at football and I was useless at running, so I had to learn how to fight. So from there, sort of things just progressed. I was relatively successful within karate when I was younger. Progressed things, ended up going away to Thailand, staying there, came back, had a stint of doing Thai boxing professionally, and then now I've transitioned into coaching. So the thing is to sort of pass on the knowledge that I've gained throughout my years of experience and try and bring through, whether it be a new breed of competitor or just sort of pass on the knowledge that I've got in terms of self-defence and kind of physical ability to people. So yeah.
Makes sense. So the overarching purpose of your business is, of course, around coaching, skills development, protection. You kind of mentioned that, which is a bit of a hotter topic perhaps just now, with certain bits and bobs going on. But would you say that in general that's what your passion is? Is that what you love about your business, is the one-to-one kind of element of coaching?
I think that to be perfectly honest, I'm probably more geared towards one-to-one style coaching. I love to see the personal development of somebody that I'm working directly with. I think that sometimes in a group dynamic, talent can be overlooked, hard work can be overlooked, because you might just not be looking at the right person at the right time. Sometimes your focus can be shifted onto other people. It's sometimes quite hard to manage a group dynamic because a lot of the time you'll end up working with the disruptors rather than the people who are producing the goods. And it's about managing that, so I prefer being in sort of quite an intimate environment with people and they're held fully accountable, working on a one-to-one basis. You tend to find that as well with the coaching element, like with the personal coaching element, that people, it's not that they necessarily give you more, it's like I say, they're held more accountable and you'll get more productivity out of them because they're answerable to you and you are on them, you're focused on them. So it's cool. I love seeing that, like I say, that personal growth, whether it be in confidence, whether it be in sort of physicality, whether it be performance, whatever it is, but I just love seeing that, the results that come out the other end of it.
Yep. How long have you been a personal coach for now?
So, I've coached martial arts on and off for 15 years, something like that. Yeah, 15 I think.
That vastly experiences.
Personal coaching, I took a bit of a hiatus from it, but on and off, again around about sort of 15 years when I sort of fell out of love with it all. Took, like I say, a hiatus from it and then just went back to it because I realised that I'm pretty much only good at teaching people how to punch things. Stuff like that.
I've also benefited, I would say, from that coaching.
Well, yeah, I've enjoyed punching you.
We'll provide a bit of context to that comment a little bit later. So what I'm always interested in, so obviously from an ELEV8 perspective, coaching is exactly what we look to do as well. To answer you a bit more of a more difficult question is, you get a perfect client that comes in, that's fine, they're motivated, they want to better themselves, they're paying for the service, all that kind of stuff.
Not him.
I do pay for the service.
He pays for it, that's it.
Talk to me about your methods when things don't go right first time, and when you have to adapt ultimately to different types of coaching styles that perhaps you're not even comfortable with yourself.
So, coaching needs to be fairly fluid and adaptable. This is the thing, you're going to come across a lot of different personalities in your time coaching, both individuals and in a group dynamic. In a group dynamic, you have to be a chameleon. Like, you have to be able to, I mean, you deal with this person who's here one way and you turn around and somebody learns it from a completely different viewpoint. So you need to adapt yourself and try and find a way that they're then going to tap into it. So in a group dynamic, it's vastly different, and I tend to find that you can't go down the rabbit hole too much with people because you're so limited in time, and you've got to share that equally, because at the end of the day, everybody's paying for the same service. On a one-to-one basis, there have been obviously a lot of times that the outcome's been what you'd call less than desirable. Across 15 years, there was no chance that I was going to have 15 years worth of only successful clients. That's pretty much ridiculous to expect. But it's finding, I mean, what resonates with the person. Like, what is it that's important to them? What is it that drives them? What motivates them? And or what are they passionate about? I mean, if somebody's unhappy with their body, right, well, what is it you're unhappy about? Are you unhappy of other people's perception of you? Are you unhappy with your inability to perform? Are you unhappy with very serious things like your inability to conceive a child? Are you unhappy with, like, you see what I mean? Like, there's much more varying causes, and you need to sort of tap into that and work out the why, and then from there, there's usually a methodology that you can apply to help. But it's hard, man, because some people don't want to tell the truth. Some people don't just want to say, I'm lazy. Yeah. And some people are. Like, I had this big discussion about what is, because obviously the personal training side, a lot of it is geared towards fitness and sort of changes in body composition. I had this discussion about what is fat. And it's like, fat's a swear word. Like, if you say it automatically, you're fat shaming somebody, and you're prejudiced, and you're this and you're that. It's nonsense. Like, you need to be able to talk about these things. And a lot of the time, when you can talk about what some people think is taboo, or the thing that they're really trying the hardest to avoid, that's where you get the results. It's in there that results are bred. So
let me ask then, when you have a client that comes in for the first time, that initial impression, the consultation that takes place, how often does the first conversation change through the sort of block sessions that a client might take up? For example, they might come in saying, I'm unhappy with my body shape, but actually by session 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, whatever it might be, their goals and motivations have changed. How often does that happen through the coaching that you provide?
Fairly frequently. Like, people come into personal coaching for all sorts of different reasons, and they think they know why they're coming to you, but it's not until they're actually in the thick of it that there's a sense of clarity that will sort of overcome. Like you say, people come in and say, I just want to lose weight, but then you introduce them to something that they then become exceptionally passionate about. So for instance, somebody could come in and say to me, I just want to lose weight, I want to drop my body fat, I want to do this, I want to do that, and then I introduce them to boxing. Within 10 sessions, then you go, do you know what, I'd love to have a fight. I'd love to have a fight. And that's how it happened. I mean, that like sort of fairly organically. Did that not happen to you?
I did, yeah. I was, when I look back on photos, probably about 2014, 2015, it was pretty chunky, I would say. Not the athlete that I am today, I would add. But absolutely, yeah, it was something that I was down at a different gym, and the coach down there gave me the opportunity to get involved with boxing, and all of a sudden I realised I absolutely love this. And then it was like a level or a ladder, I would maybe call it, of kind of like a step change that kind of went, that took place. Elevated. It certainly did. See, I missed a trick there, didn't I? But you're absolutely right. I didn't have any intentions. I certainly didn't have any intentions of fighting. And within, I think, about sort of 8-9 months, something like that, when I was deemed capable enough to take care of myself in the ring, I was given the opportunity to go and have a fight. So absolutely, it's a great progression. Right. I would say that walking into the gym, walking into any coaching environment, and then actually just having that first conversation can really take you into a world that you that you basically just didn't even know existed.
I think
is the kind of point.
A big thing with that, with the first conversation, like, is that making the people feel comfortable enough that they know they can change their mind.
Yeah.
Like, so many people feel pressured into having that first conversation, and somebody's told me I need to lose weight, so I need to lose weight, I need to lose weight, I need to lose weight. What if that's not enough? What if that doesn't drive them? What if that isn't? What if they're not passionate about, just because a lot of people who are overweight aren't passionate about losing weight. A lot of the time it's because there is something that they've not found something that they're passionate about, that they have gained the weight, or that they've not got something to pursue. So it's trying to give them something that, like I say, they're passionate about, that they want to make habitual change, they want to make lifestyle changes, and maybe get somewhere.
I think what you're alluding to there is continual goal setting.
Yeah,
Correct me if I'm wrong.
Absolutely.
It's something that's, again, it's a progression of whatever your goal might be just now might change weeks down the line when different motivators or drivers kind of take effect ultimately. But that again keeps the client, keeps the person, the customer ultimately continually increasing their performance, increasing their kind of ability to better themselves.
Maintains the relationship, as you tend to find that, because I mean, when let's say you come in and you say to me, I want to lose a stone in weight, right? So we lose a stone, what do we wave goodbye, and then that's it done.
Exactly.
Like, it has to be professional for them in order to, I mean, what are they going to do? Like, the day that you look in the mirror and you're happy with what you see, like, that's when you stop improving. And like, I totally stand by that. And I'm not saying that everybody should continually punish their body to pursue something. I don't mean looking in the mirror at your physical self. I mean, it could be your professional side things. Like, I mean, are you happy in your job? Like, or are you just going through day to day being miserable? Like, well, if you're not, do something about it. If you're not happy with how you look, do something about it. If you're not happy with how you perform, do something about it. Simple as that. And that's why you need to continually adapt and push yourself.
So there we go, Stewart Graham's advice, do something about it.
Just do it.
So let's talk more from a kind of business perspective then. So I understand, and I think we all understand then the elements of coaching, and that's the client that comes in here. But from a business perspective, talk to me about what you've learned from a setting strategy perspective, for example. How do you continue, you talk about continuing the development of your clients, how do you continue the development of your business?
So I used to be part owner in another gym, and the opportunity to be part of that came about in fairly strange circumstances, but it allowed me a fairly sort of sharp introduction to what was involved in operating business. But there was a lot of the business that I didn't have to deal with, because there were resources there that I was sort of fairly ignorant towards. And it was just other people taking care of it, whether it be sort of accounting, whether it be like dealing with staff wages, whether it be whatever, okay, like the legal side of things and all the rest of it. So I just dealt with the day-to-day sort of running. I managed the business in essence, although I was obviously part owner. So when I made the jump over to have it totally, the whole pie to myself, there was a lot of stuff that I did not know how to do. But like you say, strategizing is a massive thing. It was a big case of taking a step back, take a big deep breath and go, right, how do I make this work? So it was having to go through the component parts of what I was looking to achieve. Like, so what was my business? First of all, I had to understand my business before I marketed my business in any way, shape or form. Like, it's not about just hitting people, and like, what did I want to achieve with this business? Then who was I looking to attract? Who was the demographic that I was looking to walk through these doors? Because so many people, so many fight gyms especially, and I wouldn't classify this as a fight gym, I would classify this as a facility where you learn how to fight, yes, but like most fight gyms market themselves to the 1%, these people that are maybe going to be UFC fighters or fight on the biggest promotions in the world and stuff. That's what they want, that's where they think their money's made. But at the end of the day, I would rather have the other 99% of people coming in and feeling like they were able to do something new, they were welcoming the environment, they'd like everything that goes with it is like sort of all encapsulating in here for the people who feel like they've always been too intimidated to go into an environment like this. So it was finding a way to attract people to this as an entity that they were welcome within, rather than scared of. So there were a lot of challenges. There were loads of, like I say, component parts of it. Whether that be the marketing side, whether it be the legal side, whether it be even like dealing with trivial issues that you don't even think come up.
Mm-hmm.
And you go, Jesus, like.
Yeah. Never anticipated
anything
left field like that. Yeah.
I mean, you can make as many contingencies as you want, and I can still guarantee that stuff's going to come up that you've not even thought of. So
it's interesting. I had a conversation with a different business earlier this week, and we kind of really pushed on the feeling of being overwhelmed, especially when you have a business and you're trying to take it to the next level. And I'm probably interested to kind of to push you on. Black Box Muay Thai has been going for a year. Over a year.
Kind of 4 days.
Yeah, 4 days officially, which is, that's gutting for you as a business owner and as a guy as passionate and driven as you are, especially when you're talking about, that kind of the demographic of who you're trying to attract. Yeah. We all know the impacts on mental health through kind of lockdown as well, and therefore gyms play a massive, kind of benefit towards that, the kind of system of well-being.
Yeah.
I suppose that feeling of overwhelmedness is what I'm kind of coming back to here, is when you're setting your strategy up and you're thinking about branding, marketing, accounting, tax, all that kind of stuff, the legal stuff. Yeah. I have no idea what happens if someone breaks their nose or an arm or something in here. Legal cover,
back door, we get the back door, they were never here.
All that kind of stuff. So all of a sudden, there's just 4 or 5 things off the top of the head. Yeah. That feeling of being overwhelmed could quite easily kind of come across you, I suppose.
Absolutely. I'm fairly lucky in that I'm probably too laid back, and I'm very lucky that at home I've got a wife who pushes me to take care of things. She would disagree with that. Cleaning. But in all seriousness, in terms of the business, like my wife is very, very proactive. So straight away, there's a resource there that we sort of bounce ideas off each other. Like I'll give her ideas about maybe sort of new ways to market the business, or I'll help out with things, and she'll do exactly the same back to me. She'll talk about maybe what, from an external perspective, people want, and like how I should maybe think about adapting things. So there's one resource. I've also got a client actually that I've PT'd for a long time. He operates his own business. He actually is a sort of local business partner within the gym, and he is able to source, whether it be accounting or like anybody, if I was having a legal query, he'd be able to source that for me. Like, so again, it comes down to the sort of the network that you're building. Obviously, it's down to you how you get your consumers, but that's all going to be as a result of not necessarily outsourcing, but calling on your network maybe for bits of advice. And I think that's why I don't get overwhelmed. For instance, when I was setting up the gym, I'm fairly fortunate in that my dad knows too many people. And I would barely even get the sentence out that I need to look at, I know a guy. And it was always, 1 or 2 phone calls later, you've got somebody who can help you with your problem, and it can help to progress your business to where it needs to be, and it can help you overcome obstacles. And that's a huge, huge help. So I think that by expanding your network and getting people with the right skill set has made my life a hell of a lot easier. So I'm lucky to have had an established network, definitely. That's the biggest thing for me. So I wouldn't really say I've been overwhelmed, purely because of the people that I've got around me to support me.
Yep, so you've used your network well.
Yeah.
Excellent. A difficult, again, maybe a bit more of a difficult question to answer this, and this will probably require a little bit of soul searching perhaps, but when you think about business failures, and I don't mean overall failures, I just mean mistakes, that perhaps you could enlighten the audience in on, and how you've maybe adapted or overcome those kind of mistakes and learned from them.
So,
if there's done, it's okay to say that.
No, I've been perfect ever since I've started working. I've never made a mistake. It's a hard one. Again, it comes down to the sort of personality type. Like, I am very, very much aware of I can be or am Marmite for people. Like, people will either like me or they will not like me, and I am 100% okay with that. I don't believe in the sort of regretting any sort of failures. Like, yes, I've had clients leave me before, but I've had clients who have been with me for 8 years.
Yep.
I've had both sides of the coin, and I've had great results. I've had some absolutely piss poor results. Like, but it's not necessarily failures, because I'm in a fairly fortunate position that, in terms of the business, I've not had a failure of a business. When I was running the gym that I used to be a part owner in, I took that on with no clients essentially, and we didn't really even have time to do proper marketing. We didn't have anything, and I made that a success. I made that like the place to go within our sort of locale. It was if you want to do proper sort of bespoke training, private training, then these are the guys you go to, and I was proud of that. So failures wise, it would probably only relate to my personality when I look at it. Like I say, there's people that don't like me, maybe that's something that I need to address. But I've been fortunate in that for as many people that don't like me, I've probably got as many people that do. So it's striking a balance. And don't get me wrong, I don't look to whether it be offend people, upset people or whatever, but I do believe in being sort of straight to the point, because we've got an exceptionally limited time on this celestial plane. So why waste it on pussyfooting about things? And some people don't like that approach. Some people they want a cuddle and told everything's going to be okay, and sometimes it's not. So that's my only real, not even obstacle, it's just probably the biggest thing that I've encountered, which is why I've got another coach. So go to Charlie, don't go to me.
Charlie, well, thank you for that. That's interesting, because again, if I put things out of a physical coaching type environment, really what you've kind of started talking about there is what type of leader you are, without really knowing that, I suppose. And there's lots of different types of leaders: directive, nurturing, authoritative, dictatorish. I'm not sure that's how it works.
That's absolutely not. We just use it,
but we can. I'm coining it.
Dictatorial.
Dictatorial. Thank you.
There we go. Advanced higher English.
Disputed. The point being there is that there are, if you look around any sort of companies, successful companies worldwide, whether it be the size of Blackbox or the size of
Amazon,
it doesn't really matter. There are different types of leaders, and different types of leaders get different types of results.
Well, I've got the same haircut as Jeff Bezos, so I'm alright.
Friends on Facebook. But this is the kind of point that I'm making here, is that there's no set formula as to what's going to make things a success, and I suppose you need to work out, and again this links back to your strategy. You need to work out what it is that you want to achieve and how you want to achieve it, and that what you're talking about there, as far as your personality is concerned, is the how. And these are things that can always be changed, they can be flexed, amended, whatever it is, but ultimately they need to align to your goals and to the outcomes that you're looking to achieve as a business.
Oh, definitely.
So thanks very much, Stuart, for that. Look, we're almost done here as far as the time's concerned, but I do want to kind of bring potential new businesses into this kind of conversation as well. And for a guy that's kind of had a hand in running a couple of businesses now, what kind of advice would you give to anyone that's looking to start out, whether it be coaching business or anything like that, but ultimately business in general? And I know you've alluded to a couple of kind of points within your statement so far, but what maybe if you give me a kind of top 2 or 3 pieces of advice for the guys out there?
I think you need to be adaptable, or at least open to change. You cannot go into anything blinkered. If you walk in thinking that this is my idea, this is my vision, I want it executed absolutely perfectly, a lot of the time, until something's actually a material or a tangible sort of asset, then you're not going to know how people respond to it, because it could be the greatest idea in the world and people hate it at first. So you need to find a way to almost change the business and make it more palatable for the people who are maybe either sitting on the fence or, nah, I don't like that. Like, there has to be change in there. It's not necessarily change, because you're not wanting to change what you're doing, but you have to be open to potentially marketing it differently or putting it across differently. And your product doesn't need to, like I say, change, but you have to be open to receiving feedback on it that's going to help you either progress it or market it, whether it be a product, a service, whatever. Like there's people are going to say bad things about it, and then you need to work out, are you going to take offence to that, or are you going to use it sort of productively and make adaptations to what you're looking to do. That'd be my sort of first thing. You have to accept that people are not going to like what you're putting out there. The second one, I would say seek the advice of somebody who's either been there and done that, or sit down and have a discussion with somebody who's going to provide structure and strategy to what you're looking to do. Like you say, a lot of people become overwhelmed in situations, and it's because, so talking from personal experience, a lot of personal trainers now, they're in the game for 5 minutes and they go, I'm going to open a gym. All they've ever taught somebody how to do is press ups. Like, and there's a lot to business. There's more to business than press ups. You know what I mean? Like, there's lease negotiations. There's rent and rates. You're dealing with obviously different utilities companies, as well as dealing with whether you're leasing equipment, how that incorporates into your accounts, how that, like, you've got so much. That's just off the top of my head. Like, even thinking about it, like trying to get the words out. There's so much stuff. To put it in any kind of hierarchical order would be ridiculous, because it all counts. Every single bit of it counts. And there's stuff, like we say, that you can't anticipate. So a lot of the time, having a set of eyes that are external to, like, that maybe you can look at it as impartial, and can look at it almost like a consumer and can say they've got the experience in the business sense, but they're looking at it without bias, and they're saying, have you thought about this? Have you thought about this? Have you thought about this? Have you thought? And like, I'm sure that list can go on and on and on and on, and it'll be very quick when, have you thought about this? And the answer is no. So straight away there's something that is going to push your business in the right direction, because this person's come out with something that you've not thought about. So. I suppose it probably is worthwhile adding in there as well that you must have trust within that person that you're seeking advice for as well. And the reason why I say that is because I know many examples of people listening to poor advice, advice that isn't structured, isn't fed back in the kind of the most appropriate ways, and actually becomes a bit of a hindrance mentally more than anything else. So I think the only addition I would add into, even though I'm the one that's meant to be asking the questions, not answering them, would be to add in that piece of trust, build trust with someone, and then start to kind of learn from them as well, which I think's really important. I think that though, that like with saying that, like, there's a lot of fucking shysters out there. Like, so with what you do especially, there's Paul Walsh at ELEV8. Paul Walsh, con man. What I mean is that it's almost like refreshing speaking to you, because when I was starting up and stuff, I had a network of people who, I know a guy who could help you, he's a business coach, he's this, he's that, he's run a couple of successful businesses. Right, that's cool, and you can't immediately discredit anyone just because of a job title. It's like saying, like, all personal trainers are creepy, whatever, all lawyers are scumbags, and like people used to have these labels for people, and you can't do that, because you have to get to know the individual. However, I know guys who have worked with business coaches who have charged them absolutely through the nose, and they've given them nothing back apart from the ability to say, yeah, I work with this guy. This is where the trust side of things does need to come in. Like, so I'm lucky that with you, obviously there's a pre-existing relationship there, and I can throw you a beating. And it does. But in all seriousness, like, there's a pre-existing relationship there, and I know the sort of the standards that you hold yourself accountable to, and the type of person you are. So it's easy to sit down and have a conversation and know that you're talking from a place of genuine sort of interest and genuine results for the business. Like, it's a results driven service that you provide, just like I do. So with that, I knew what I was getting into by speaking to you. Whereas a lot of people, they'll hire a stranger who couldn't give a shit about the business, couldn't care less about the personal vested interests. It's just a case of a cookie cutter program. Here you go. I told this guy who runs a bakery to do this, so I'll tell a guy who owns a gym to do the same thing. I'll tell a guy who owns a car body shop to do the same thing. Like, how's that the same? And I've seen it too many times. So it's finding somebody within your sort of realm, I would say, that's is knowledgeable and honest. Transparency is huge.
Yeah, I think, I mean, for me, and as we're kind of talking about here, for me, it's certainly about, I always position it as like, your goals become my goals, and I need to be as invested in your goals as you are. Otherwise, what are you paying me for? Or what are you paying a coach for in general? And that works both ways for the coaching that you do with your clients or the coaching that I do with my clients, both kind of private and kind of business ones. There's got to be that element of trust there, and if they don't feel like you are banging down walls trying to make it a success for them, then I would say you're in bed with the wrong guy.
I would agree, totally.
Person. So, no, sure, fantastic, absolutely fantastic. I really appreciate I think the openness, the transparency that you've kind of built into this conversation or interview today. So thank you very much. Black Box Muay Thai up here in the back here. Final question.
Just so we're clear, it's not Muay Thai. A Muay Thai is a drink. Just so that
Muay Thai. My apologies. My apologies. Final question.
Yep.
What's next for Black Box, and where are you taking the place?
So, what the next stage is actually in the process. I want it to be a sort of all-encompassing facility where we've got strength and conditioning, we've got private training, we've got group training, and we're going to look to add a bit more sort of diversity to the timetable, where we're taking a more holistic view of not only people's fitness but also people's health. So we're looking at contacting, or we have already contacted several coaches. We've got guys, like I was saying, we've got myself, we've got Charlie McGee, we've got Dean Hepburn of Primitive Evolve, who's going to be working with us, really talented coach. We're building a network of people that's going to take us to a sort of next level, and we want to make everyone aware that it doesn't matter your ability, your physical shape, size, previous experience, anything. Like, you walk in here, you're as welcome as anybody else, and we've got what you need to get to where you want to be. But yeah, it's just progressing what we've got at the moment. I'm not going to try and run before I can walk. We need to get a clean run at being a functional business when the world opens its doors again. So looking forward to doing that and just getting some results that are maybe going to push us to the next level. So.
Well, all the best, Stuart, and thank you very much for your time today.
Thank you.
All the best.